whenever we have a new idea and we're thinking about whether we should do it or not, a load of stuff goes around inside our head. You know, do I know enough? Can I do it? What if I fail? And I think for a lot of people, the fear of failure means that often we just don't bother. So I really wanted to use this talk as a way to talk about how I've learned some things by doing product design, and I've applied them to my own life, and I'm more productive and I'm happier. So I thought, well, if I tell you some tips on how you can develop your own ideas, maybe you could be a bit happier as well. Well, it's pretty nice, isn't it? So, drawing on the title of the talk, first of all, let's quickly get what a prototype is out of the way. A prototype is a release of a product built to test a concept or to act as a thing to be learned from. What that means, essentially, is it's a way of trying something out where the purpose of it is for you to learn something so that you can make some changes so that you can achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Yeah? Well, that sounds pretty awesome to me, to be honest with you. It's trying something out where you almost expect to fail just so you can learn something from it. Fantastic. Let me give you a point to illustrate this. Does everyone recognise this? Yeah? I don't know if anyone's got one. How many, and keep the number in your head, don't shout, how many prototypes do you think James Dyson went through to get to this point? So, get a number in your head, yeah? Over 5,000 prototypes to get to there. If you don't believe me, go online. He's documented it really, really well. He's got about 1,000 different cardboard hoovers and all kinds of stuff like that. But it made me think, if that's 5,000 things, essentially, that James Dyson did and either didn't work or that he wasn't happy with. And James Dyson is a fully trained designer with loads of experience. And it took him 5,000 attempts to get Hoover right. So why is it that we give up so easily when things deviate from our plan? So thinking of this, I thought this is a really powerful tool. So I said I've got some tips. First one is, see everything new that you try as a prototype. If you weren't already, because I know some of you are, you're now an honorary designer, okay? And you're in charge of a pretty awesome product. It's your life, yeah? And your goal is to be happy. And the way that you can be happy is by trying out lots of new things. And a lot of the things you try won't be successful. But you know what? It doesn't matter because you're only prototyping. You see? Whether the things that you do are successful or not, actually, they're really helpful for you. But starting stuff is really difficult, I know. All that planning, all that thinking. Well, thankfully, tip 2, do the least that you need to do to actually get the idea started. Yeah? Remember, a prototype is not a fully functioning thing. It's just a way that we can learn something. So you don't need to make any plans, and just think of the simplest, easiest way to get the ball rolling. Now, whether that's you want a new career, or whether you've got an idea for a book or a movie or just about anything that you're thinking of doing, there is something you could be doing that doesn't really involve that much effort that you can do to get this idea started. And it's important just to get it started, because it's not until you've lived with an idea for a while that you start to realise what works and what doesn't work. And then you can use what you learn as you go along to develop that idea and to get to the next stage of the idea. And remember I made you all designers earlier? Well, if you actually apply this, you're actually doing something called iterative design. That's pretty clever. This is what James Dyson was doing with the Hoover. So the way it works is that the more ideas you try, the more things that you learn, and then this gives you more ideas, which equips you to be more successful. I appreciate that this probably sounds deceptively easy. Yeah? but that's because it is. But remember, it's highly likely that your ideas, especially the early ones, are going to fail. Thankfully, ideas are an infinite resource. There's always another idea. Don't be precious about your ideas. Just get them out there. Your best ideas will come on the back of other ideas. That said, there's a few more things you could be doing to get the most out of this approach. And my next tip, define success at the beginning. So right at the start, write down what you think will make it successful. This does not have to be some big grand thing. I released this colouring book with my friends. Don't Google it because it's incredibly offensive inside. The cover is the least offensive part about it, and some people don't like that. My friend said to me, "What's your goal? What does success look like for you?" And I said, "Just one person who doesn't know me and unrelated to anyone we know finding out about this book and buying it. That's what success looked like for me." Well, in the end, we sold about 300 of them. I know, amazing, yeah? But even though I've still got 700 of these in my loft, and also we didn't even break even, to me it was still a success. I learned so much. And I think that's one of the main reasons why you've just got to start something. But obviously, we can't just all go off and do all manner of crazy things without some limitations. So, my next tip is set pull-out points. These will either be money or time, and stick to them. So how much are you willing to put into an idea before you say, "Do you know what? I'm going to stop this." And it's important that you do that, because if you just blindly follow something, it will end up making you unhappy. And really, if you remember, the ultimate goal of our product, of our lives, is to be happy. So don't follow it blindly. Just stop. I just want to say it one more time. There is nothing wrong in failing. Nothing. Okay? Especially if you follow this one last tip. Document everything you learn along the way. Yeah? So all the successes, all the little things that you learn, just everything you do, you'll learn things. For this event, I had to learn what type of microphones to buy. I had to get all the stands. All these, I didn't know any of these things before I did it. And if you document these things, you can reflect on this at a later date, and you can actually see how much you've learned and how far you've come. And if you document these things, you'll thank me, because when you look back, you'll have stuff to put in your CV, or you'll have stuff to put online about yourselves. You'll just have stuff to talk about in interviews. Honestly, I know someone in your email will go, "I'm so glad I started doing that." Now, I hope that some of you use these tips to sort of develop your own ideas, and I hope that some of you actually get a level of success with them, because I'm sure you will if you just do it. I want to leave you with a quote, okay? And it's a quote that I have in the back of my head before I start anything. It's always in there. I'm always thinking of it. Sucking at something is the first step to becoming sort of good at something. Yeah? Even the people who are at the top of their game, the best of the best, sucked at the beginning. That's how it works, yeah? Fact is, if you never start, you'll never get better. Thank you.